Regarding the 9 levels of mental stability, we discussed yesterday the degrees of mental engagement, which can be divided into 4 types. The first type is tightly controlled engagement, which is related to the first 2 levels of mental stability. It means applying strong mental effort. The second type, called interrupted engagement, relates to the 3rd through 7th levels of stability. One rests the mind in a state of stability. Then, this state is interrupted by some defect, and one applies a remedy. This situation repeats, and one continues applying remedies. As a result, one's stability is continually interrupted. At the 8th level of mental stability, one-pointedness, one develops the 3rd mental engagement, uninterrupted engagement. At this stage, the mind focuses on a single point and remains there without interruption. At this point, one is fully immersed in concentration without interruption. The 4th mental engagement is called naturally present engagement. The 9th level of mental stability is called resting in equanimity. These 2 correspond to each other. While explaining the 9 levels of mental stability, we already discussed these 4 types of mental engagement in the middle. Here, we are reviewing them. Moreover, there are 6 powers that eliminate defects in samatha meditation and bring about the 9 levels of mental stability. The first power is the power of listening, the power of hearing or receiving the teachings. This develops the first stage of mental stability, or samatha. The second power is the power of contemplation or reflection. This involves carefully and repeatedly pondering the reasoning and logic of the teachings to ensure a complete understanding of transmission. With this power, one develops the second stage of mental stability, known as continued settlement. In the first stage, the mind can rest briefly. In the second stage, it can remain settled for a longer time, such as 10 minutes. These first 2 stages, listening to the teachings and continually contemplating them, give rise to the first 2 powers and the first type of mental engagement, disciplined engagement. This engagement involves the powers of hearing and contemplation, in which the mind is controlled and focused through discipline. We need to combine these powers. Mental engagement refers to what we call correct mental modes. The 4 types of mental engagement encompass 6 powers, each emphasizing an aspect of mental effort. The first power is listening, the second is reflection, and the third is mindfulness, applying the effort of mindfulness. These types of engagement differ in connotation and develop progressively. The first 2 primarily involve disciplined engagement, which requires strong effort. We mentioned this topic yesterday. Today, we are reviewing it to help you understand how to practice, as this is very important. The third power is mindfulness. This is similar to the previously discussed antidote for forgetting the meditation instructions. The power of mindfulness develops the 3rd level of mental stability, re-established settlement. It means that when thoughts arise during meditation, one becomes aware of being distracted, returns to meditation, and resettles the mind. This ability comes from mindfulness, as it enables one to recognize when the mind is carried away by thoughts. The power of mindfulness gives rise to the fourth stage of mental stability, called intensified settlement. The fourth power is awareness, which means one knows precisely what is occurring and what one is doing. Usually, we are not aware of what is happening. The power of awareness, however, can develop two levels of mental stability. The fifth level, called taming, and the sixth level, called pacification. Normally, our minds lack the motivation for meditation. As a result, meditation becomes a very difficult task. With the power of taming, however, we become aware of the qualities and benefits of meditation. It benefits both ourselves and others. It helps us develop clairvoyance and miraculous powers. The sixth level of mental stability is called pacification. It is important to maintain mindfulness and awareness in the post-meditation state. Mindfulness and awareness refer to self-awareness and the awareness of self-awareness, respectively. In addition to mindfulness, there is also an awareness that knows one is being mindful. The fifth power is diligence. This power gives rise to the seventh level of mental stability, complete pacification. In the previous level of pacification, one repeatedly reflects on the benefits of meditation and the faults of distraction. However, when strong obstacles arise, such as unhappiness, regret, or anger, merely contemplating the benefits of meditation cannot immediately remove them. One needs the power of diligence to eradicate powerful obstacles such as attachment, anger, and ignorance, thereby attaining the seventh level of meditative stability. The power of diligence gives rise to the eighth level of mental stability, one-pointedness. Diligence is the fifth power. The sixth power is familiarization. With this power, the mind reaches the ninth level of stability, resting in equanimity, naturally and effortlessly. It corresponds to the fourth type of mental engagement, naturally present engagement. We have now categorized the 9 levels of mental stability from 2 perspectives, one based on mental engagement and the other on the 6 powers, each serving its function. This table illustrates the 4 types of mental engagement, the 6 powers, and the corresponding 9 levels of mental stability. All 9 levels are states of concentration. Since this is important, I have explained it once again. All right, let's proceed to the next section.